And welcome to this episode of Dragon's Tome, number 5, issue number 5. And, this is volume 1, number 5. March 1977. We're into 1977, people.
Whew, 1977.
I was 2. No, I wasn't quite 2. I was almost 2.
I was 8.
And Jack was a baby.
I was nearly a baby.
This is the next issue. On the front is a Barbarian versus a Snake by Dave Sutherland, he's a TSR artist, I guess, and he did a lot of the interior art, I guess. $1.50 still, which is no inflation yet. Still called The Dragon. There you go. We'll get to our articles. Who wants to start today? Jack, do you want to start? I saw you looking studiously at your notes. So, Jack, you're going to start.
Are you going to mock me now again for having my notes here?
This time you didn't cover your face, which is good. It's all good. I like it. He's studious.
It's very 1950s reporter. Only needs a fedora and a pencil behind your ear.
And then just like a little press pass in there.
Exactly.
Okay. So you want me to start, do you?
I do indeed.
Okay. Well, I chose, and it's going to sound like a cop-out because it is just a tiny little fraction of a thing, but the creature feature, page 12.
You love your creature feature.
This one I love the most because that is a dope-ass picture. It's for
like
the
a
Enteg.
Sandworm.
Like, it becomes a classic D&D creature.
It is, actually. I would wager it's even the first one in the monster manual.
Under A.
Could be.
I have to bust that out. Do I have it on my shelf?
But either way, it is
way up there. I can't get it.
It is a very tiny blurb of...
yeah, it's like super short, this one. It didn't even have any description, right?
It is tiny, but that picture... Now, we saw some questionable art before. That I would hang on my wall.
I'm trying to read the name of the artist, but it's all weird, so who knows?
Yeah, by today's standards, that would be a black metal band name.
Yep.
Oh, that is weird.
Also, trying to find... I was trying to find artists from inside the interiors. It's not like we're not trying to call it these artists. It's impossible to find who did what art in these early magazines. So hopefully as the time goes by, we'll have a little bit more credit. But we cannot give credit to this person because his name is Stick.
Or is it E. Rosodic? Some kind of...
Could be. Jack,
Slavic,
would you like to attempt?
Some kind of
No.
Iron Curtain, some kind of Iron Curtain name.
Sometimes they would have like a glossary that would have all the artists like on page
not
this,
yet.
it's this.
Yeah.
I think we're early days. I don't know if that level of detail comes up like even for a while.
No, I don't think so. Like you say, I think that's a later edition. So far, we just got to go with Aerozotistek. Good job.
Who can take a centipede and an ant and then just make them kiss, and then make a dope ass picture about it, because that is sweet. That would, if I had a van, not a wizard on the side, it would be this picture.
It'd be an Onkig.
Yep.
Is that the name of your metal band too? Is the Onkig?
Onkig.
Everything has
Onkig
the in front of it now.
rules.
Do you notice this in the 70s? It was very popular to put the in front of things. I think in a later issue we'll get into that more, but...
The artist's
cool.
name is the Rostostic.
Probably. Yeah, it's good.
Rostostic?
Creature feature. And he's
that's
a classic neutral monster. So, Pat, what's your first one?
Well, mine is actually just a blurb on Out on the Limb.
That's right there.
It tickled me kind of pink. What page is that on again? Oh, it's the next page.
Yep.
I
And
was
it
getting
was
scooped.
it was the article where the guy wanted to shout out to the SCA and how all these articles some articles that could focus in on the SCA. If you don't know, SCA is one of the first LARPing kind of things, the Society of Creative Acronyms.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Where they would make armor out of stop signs and things like that. Rattan weapons. So it just kind of tickled me that how far back the SCA goes into the 70s, really.
Yeah, I wonder if it was even before then, but yeah.
Yeah, because my first encounter with the SCA was probably mid 90s.
Yeah, us too. We've seen them at UBCon, Jack.
Yeah, and that was early 90s, like 92, and we watched them fight
with their foam weapons, and we're like, dear God, this looks dangerous.
So it just tickled me that it was that far back, and then they were saying they would like to see more articles focused in for the SCA and stuff like that.
Here's a hint: it's never going to happen.
Yeah,
maybe not so far.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't gotten there yet, but
we'll see.
It's nice to see.
Yep. And of course, my first article would be the Dragon Rumbles. He mentions a Blizzard of 77. Pat, did you have a Blizzard of 77? Around here, it was like a massive thing.
Yeah, I remember it was 77. I remember this is the one where my dad, I remember this clearly. My dad unshoveled 2 cars, and then the third car he realized wasn't ours, and he threw a fit and started throwing the shovel around.
I know that. Around here it was like 10 feet tall snow, and it was pretty crazy.
Our front of our house in the city was covered. We had to climb out the second story to start shoveling. But it was pretty bad. We were out of school for literally a week. Yeah, because
like I said, I was only 2, but I sort of remember it because I think I had to walk. I was close to my school well, not my school at the time. My sisters were there. So I remember walking with my mother to get to the school to get my sisters in this snow, like we're on top of the snowbanks. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, so it was pretty bad. But very fun. I just remember my dad blowing a gasket, and it was funny.
I remember seeing pictures of snow
that has
up
since
to the
happened
roof.
to me.
That
has since happened to me, so it's funny, but funny in a nostalgic kind of way.
Another thing in the Dragon Rumbles is that it's looking to expand to cover more sci-fi, which we also will see soon. More sci-fi things. There's actual sci-fi games coming out, so. And they're also doing 8 issues a year now. So we're only at 6, now we're up to 8. So they added another 2. So that's why you'll notice that the months will be all weird, because sometimes it'll be monthly, and then it'll skip a month, and then it's because it's now 8 issues. So there you go. Dragon Rumbles. And, yes, Timothy Kask, as always, just trying to get some new blood into the magazine and not just be a TSR magazine. Jack, what is your next one?
Well, because I am that kind of guy, I'm going to send us over briefly to page 25 because someone makes a triumphant return. I just want everyone to look and appreciate his reoccurrence. For those who are not following along visually, it is the Imperial Dragon from a couple issues back, or even last issue, I forget.
Change his name to Kung Fu Dragon.
And it is a silly, probably 6 pounds of lead looking, but that was the thing of the day. No, so just as a side note, I'm going to be on Imperial Dragon Watch, so just bear in mind that's
how upset will you be when he stops showing up? We'll have to find new Imperial Dragon. There'll be something else, I'm sure, to replace him.
Yeah. I'm not going to be heartbroken, but I will maybe have to, play some Sarah McLachlan in the background and look wistfully off when I don't see him anymore. But if we can go to page. Well, Rob, you already addressed that there's going to be sci-fi coming up.
Yeah. What page? And what are you talking about?
Well, see, that's the thing. There are 2 additional bits of sci-fi here, and the first one that I'm going to go with is on page 16, it's how green was my mutant.
Yes, for Metamorphosis Alpha. The game.
Alpha.
And I didn't know what that was. And not until page 31 do they have an ad for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm only bringing it up because this is literally like just a couple charts saying, you know, skin color and like it just to make a humanoid look a little wonky. So cattywampus humanoids aside, have either of you heard of Metamorphosis Alpha?
I think I've heard of it.
I've heard of it
Yeah.
only because we started doing this, and it was all over 3 and 4, I think.
Well, I've heard of it before then. Because I remember it, but I never knew what it was about. Yeah, it's about like a ship where it's like fantasy inside the sci-fi ship or something, or there's multiple worlds. It's a really odd concept, but it's like the first sci-fi RPG though. Do you have more information on it, Jack?
Other than the ad, which, like I said, it's later on in the issue. I didn't know what it was. Even reading the ad, I still didn't know what it was. And at first I thought, oh, it's going to be a Gamma World. Like that's going to be like the prototype of Gamma World.
I didn't get that when I was looking through it.
Well, I assume because I thought Gamma World was one of the first ones too, which it is because it'll come up soonish. But yeah, I read the description. In Metamorphosis Alpha, you are aboard the stricken starship and struggling to survive, trying to gain knowledge of the strange devices and mechanical apparatus in the vessel, attempting to learn the secrets of the strange world you inhabit. So you play as a human or a mutant, and you're on this, and it's like all different worlds. Like every deck is developed. I think it's like years of developing this ship. So then you get mutants, you get weird fauna and flora, and because I think there's giant like ants and stuff in it. So I think either they got zapped with some beam that changed everything, or it's been a long time. Maybe you're in stasis and you woke up. But once again, I don't know. This isn't a one that lasted. Just like what was the other one from last issue or a couple issues ago, the Petal Throne or whatever it was, which we never heard of. So I think it's these things that it's so new that everything's getting attention, even if it doesn't deserve it, maybe.
Well, the Petal Throne does in a few episodes. It does make a triumphant return. So,
yes. Cool.
Yeah. So that's my my question about if anyone had ever heard of it. And
does it say who did it? It's by TSR, but I wonder who wrote it.
It's I forget who writes. He writes a bunch of the articles for it.
Well, Gary Gygax wrote the How Green Was My Mutant.
Yeah, but there's another guy, and I can't remember. James Ward did it. Some ideas missed. He's got an article on page 10.
Okay, yeah, because James Ward has articles on the next issue too. So
yeah, almost all of this Ward guy. His articles
he did a lot of
about Metamorphosis Alpha.
Yeah, and Designer Forum is about the designing of the game, and it's by him. So yeah. So you go. So I didn't read the tribal society and hierarchy aboard the Starship Warden, and there's shamans and stuff. Every society has a shaman, and so it is kind of like a weird mix of sci-fi and fantasy. So
like you end up on this spaceship, but you somehow regress to a tribal status. Is how I kind of pictured it. So it's almost like a Battlefield Earth almost.
Yeah, sort of, but on a ship.
Except you don't got some kind of computer to super learn yourself.
Maybe you do.
Some more of a Krull-like situation.
Is Krull on a giant ship?
No, but it is technologically advanced people that have regressed. So some people have like laser guns, and some people,
have a glaive.
Like He-Man.
Yeah.
It's like He-Man.
Like
Pat,
He-Man.
what is your second article, Pat?
So my second article is the Wizard Research Rules. I enjoyed reading this because it's kind of almost an again, this is the template of the magic research in the AD&D DM's
Yes, I was thinking this was actually in there. That's why when I read this, I was like, wait a second, this exists. Yeah. Not until AD&D, yep.
So some of it's changed a little bit because I did break out my book and look at it. And but for the most part, it's a spot-on deal, which is really nice. I thought it was cool. So I like seeing these articles where we see the ideas come from, and then they're all of a sudden in the books that we read to learn how to play this game.
Yeah, like it really shows that Wizard did feed into, or not Wizard, Dragon did feed into D&D. Like it wasn't a one-way street. It definitely it goes further. Anything else to say about your Wizard rules?
No, I'm just the charts. I mean, I like to see that the Vorpal weapon was still a thing in the very beginning.
Well, it's from what's it called? Jabberwocky.
Yeah.
So
Plus 5 holy weapon, life draining, all these things are all the weapons that you wanted to have when you were adventuring in D&D as a first class. I want a Vorpal.
Vorpal was definitely the weapon to get, that's for sure.
Yes.
That's what everybody wanted. Not a cursed weapon of backbiting.
No, those were the best.
Cursed weapons?
To give someone, because that was back in the days of D&D where it was the DM's job to try to kill everybody.
Yeah, it was antagonistic, yes. Well, my last article, unless we have more, is Gandalf was only a 5th level wizard, or 5th level magic user.
That was my last article too.
It was pretty funny. I laughed and laughed.
I laughed too, but he does make some good points.
Yep, he goes through
He's got solid facts. He's got some solid facts.
He goes through every single spell from every book in The Lord of the Rings and tells you what it would be equal to in D&D. But then in the end, he's like, well, maybe it's... I think he was joking, but he said maybe we have to redo D&D because the D&D spell levels are too low. He's trying to say, like, no, they should be higher. But it was pretty funny, just going through and making fun of Gandalf pretty much, saying he's just doing, what is it, Great Fire, or his best weapon was Lightning Bolt or Fireball, so he did nothing higher level than that. But, yeah, that was my other one.
He even gave Sauron a dig, or a little bit of a roast. You know,
yeah, it took him 6,000 years to get to level 12 or whatever it was.
Yeah, and then he only had clairvoyance and ESP with the help of a wizard's eye.
Yeah. Got him.
Jack, do you have any other articles you'd like to talk about?
If you wanted to go over to page 25 and take a look at...
Yeah, we're right here anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, we're looking at the Imperial Dragon again. Got him.
I want to call him Kung Fu Dragon because look at his stance.
It is.
Yeah.
He's got
Kung Fu Dragon.
Manchu,
I still don't know what's going on with that tail there. It's wrapped around something.
A stalagmite, or it's pierced by something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know.
I'd love to see. Actually, we should look and see if we can find an actual picture of this that isn't a terrible photocopy. As for the ads, we get Gen Con 10. That's the big ad here. Gen Con 10 is happening. They were celebrating their 10th anniversary of Gen Con. We just went to the 50th anniversary, so.
Well, the last one was 51.
Yeah, that's right.
Which should have been 52.
Mm-hmm. They missed one, yeah. It's the first one they missed.
Unfortunately, we were at the Indiana Convention Center, not the Playboy Resort.
Yes, this is the Playboy Resort. That's what I was going to say.
Did you look at the menu that they had?
Oh, yeah, this is the one where you can buy the dinner for $5.
Oh, I didn't see that.
An extra $5, you get to a dinner.
Ooh.
What page is that on?
12
bunnies. Do bunnies serve you?
I don't know.
Or was that in a later episode that...
Oh, it might be. But, yeah, it's pretty funny. I love seeing these early Gen Con things. But same time of year, though. August, a little earlier, because it's usually end of August, but this is kind of third week August. So it's pretty funny. It's always the same type of year.
Well, August and Lake Geneva in August is really nice, so that's why I would say.
The other article I noticed was the Games and Puzzles magazine. Obviously, Games and Puzzles thought that this was the same type of people. Oh, this is a game. It's like, this isn't crossword and word search here. Totally different type of game. But it's just funny that they thought they somehow sold in our ad to these Games and Puzzles. Other than that, it's about all the same ones we've seen before. I don't think there's anything new. I'm trying to see if there's anything.
The Sin cast it has been in there for a while.
Yeah, a lot of the same stuff. And like Jackson, the Metamorphosis Alpha.
The same figs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a new con.
Yeah, there's Glass 2
Glass
Con,
2. And
there's also Spring Con, I noticed. But, You can never have too many conventions. That seemed like a thing after Gen Con picked up. There's a lot more conventions happening. People saw how fun it was to get together and play games. Yeah. Other than that,
And it was
anything else?
the 70s. It was the 70s, so there's a lot of getting together and playing games, if you know what I'm saying.
So you think there's some key parties at these cons? I don't think so, because the percentage of women going to these cons was probably pretty damn low.
I was really, I would wager very low.
Although later we'll talk about that again too, so we'll get into that in further issues as we go through. So, anything else to talk about this issue, guys? I think that wraps this one up.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a quick and short one because there wasn't too much going on.
There's a lot of fiction in this one, though. There's a lot of pages of fiction.
Oh, well, yeah, because Gardner Fox wrote Beyond the Wizard Fog. Gardner Fox is pretty famous. He's one of those pulp writers, so
yeah.
I think
so. He took a lot. He took a lot of the issue.
He was like a Lovecraft, post-Lovecraft kind of guy who was like got his start from there. So, yeah, that took up a lot of the issue for sure. But no, I think we covered most of it actually. That's a witchcraft. I forgot there's a whole thing about witchcraft, adding witchcraft as a class to D&D, which is kind of cool. And
I don't know if it was as a class, but more of like a wandering monster situation.
You don't think it was meant to be played?
When I read it, and mind you, this was a couple of days ago, I think it was like to be added to a encounter table.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they just had spells and stuff, I guess. They didn't have the leveling stuff like they do with classes usually. You're right.
Because you would roll to see, I think, what alignment it was, what kind of witch it was, and then it was interesting. It was interesting enough that I read the full article, which sometimes I don't.
Yeah. It did go on a long time.
It is. I think it is a monster because there's no level table.
There's no level tables. And early D&D, they had those level tables where everybody has a different name for each level. So
yes.
So we'd see that for sure if it was that. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up episode number 5, issue number 5 of the Wizard, why do I keep saying Wizard? The Dragon magazine. And this has been a special episode with a barbarian fighting a snake on the cover.
A la Conan.
For sure, a la Conan. I've been Rob.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Chopper.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.